Hey folks, it's Alex Coulomb again, back with another one of these videos. I've actually been making a lot of these. I haven't posted most of them. I think it's just become kind of a nice little video diary for me, but I think I will post this one because I've been trying to find time all week to say something vaguely intelligent about the past 2 weeks before this one. This week has been all catch up. Quick recap for those that don't know, starting September 24th, I had like a big slew of travel and events and all sorts of crazy stuff. I went to MetaConnect over in Menlo Park. I spoke at SVVR. I went to Unreal Fest, was part of 3 speaking things there. Went over to Orlando, across the country, overnight red-eye flight. And then we showed a Star Wars VR experience we've been working on at a very cool fan convention called Halcy-Con. And part of what's been going on this week has been figuring out that another trip that I already had planned coming up in like a week and a half is now also going to be a much more complicated trip. Originally, I was just going to go to Belgrade in Serbia to speak at a little mini Unreal Fest called Unreal Day. Well, I'm out of breath. I've like just started walking up this hill. It's because I'm talking too much. Belgrade, Serbia, Unreal Day. And that was going to be fine. Just like over there, come right back. And then I met someone very cool in New York City. Thanks, Tank Thunderbird, for offering me a free ticket to AWE Europe. I've done AWE in America. It was fun, great gathering. Never done the Europe version. I know a lot of the speakers who are going to be there, and I didn't realize it's like 2 days after, or not 2 days. It's a few days after the event I'm speaking at in Serbia. So I thought, okay, great. I've always wanted to go to Vienna. I've tried to go to D2, like an ArcViz conference over there quite a few times. I've got friends in Vienna, including the guys who run that conference, and thought, okay, great, Unreal Day. Let's also go over to Vienna, do everything there for AWE Europe, make sure I can get home in time for Halloween over here. Unfortunately, AWE goes right up through the end of October 30th, and then I got to do like some kind of crazy theatrics to get home in time for trick-or-treating. We're going to make that happen. And then I was thinking like, I could, of course, relax in Belgrade or in Vienna or do something fun on a train for the few days between those two events. But then I was like, okay, well, maybe there's something else going on. And I posted on LinkedIn, like, hey, what should I do between these two events if I do that? And then not even responding directly to me, Chris Nichols had said, hey, if anyone's going to be in Berlin on this day, literally the day after the Unreal Day event, we're going to be talking about our ray tracing FTW, Ray Tracing for the Win short film that him and Dan Thron and the whole Martini Giant crew and all sorts of other cool people from Chaos made. Really cool short film. I'll put a link to it if you guys haven't seen it, which is full of super nerdy Easter eggs. And they're talking about Project Arena, their new virtual production stuff. Anyway, love Chris. Been on the CG Garage podcast a couple times. A huge fan of everything him and everyone else are doing at Chaos. I loved Total Chaos, this conference they put on in Sofia back in 2019. Still kind of like the gold standard of a really well-done conference. And I thought, great, let's pop over to Berlin to see that. And then also Tank, who is getting me this free ticket to AWE Europe. They're also based in Berlin. So it's another opportunity to explore Berlin a little bit, which I haven't been to since 2008 as part of my study abroad time in London. So suddenly, another really big trip still in October, and like bundling these trips together, exhausting, but immensely satisfying. And fortunately, as an extrovert, I do find them to be also very, invigorating, energizing, all that good stuff. Anyway, why am I talking about all these future plans? I really just wanted to make a quick video to say the 2 weeks between MetaConnect, SVVR, Unreal Fest, Halcy-Con, holy cow, amazing. What an incredible time. And I just want to send out love and appreciation and gratitude to all the amazing people who I got to spend some real quality time with. Like, yes, there was, of course, like the very quick, like, oh, hi, good to see you. How are you? As we're like walking past each other in hallways. But there was also some like really deep, meaningful sit down conversations and all the reasons in the world to actually be present physically for these kinds of events rather than just, watching a live stream. I can already tell you, like at Unreal Fest, I saw 0 talks besides the keynote that I wasn't directly involved with. And that wasn't because I wasn't super excited to see a lot of my good friends giving talks up there. It's just that the in-person one-on-one FaceTime is so much more valuable to me than anything that's going to be recorded and available on demand later. So I've got obviously a huge backlog of both the live stream and then when the talks come out later for Unreal Fest I'm excited for. But, same thing happened at MetaConnect. I only popped into a talk where they were giving a nice shout out to Body of Mine, and very fortunate to be sitting next to Cameron, who, of course, commissioned us to help support his beautiful experience from desktop VR to the Quest store this year. It was nice to have a little shout out about that and a couple slides about, hey, Unreal Engine stuff coming to Meta. Some of you may know that I also had the tremendous opportunity to try out the Orion glasses at MetaConnect. That was such a whirlwind. I didn't know that was going to be such a privileged thing to get to do. I assumed there'd be like a line and lots of people would get to do it. And at best, like maybe I would get to have a reserved slot. I didn't know it was going to be such a limited thing. So the fact that like right after the keynote, when Orion was really shown publicly in a big way for the first time, that I was, right up to bat right after that to try it out myself was really incredible. And for anyone who hasn't looked at that Upload VR article that I wrote at 3 a.m. in the morning after the Wave XR beta party with like 6 drinks in me, that was what an incredible experience. And also I was really grateful that they let me bring in a couple guests. I invited Kent Bai and Ian Hamilton because I was very sad that they weren't getting their own demos and wanted to hear their take on this incredible new prototype technology, etc. Kent was already interviewing Norm from Tested and Scott Stein, and I said, oh my God, of course, like go talk to them. So I brought over my good friend Thomas Van Baal, who made Cubisms, working on Laser Dance. We are good old friends from the New York City days when he used to live there. We did a hackathon at Sketchfab's headquarters for WebXR years and years ago, and we're really happy to see each other. So he came over, acted as a bit of a cameraman for me. Ian Hamilton was there. I was hoping by the end of the demo that Ian would have, enough of a sense of what was going on to write an article. He, of course, said like, I was just watching your reaction. Like, that's not quite enough for me to go on. Why don't you write an article? And I was like, cool, I'll do that when I find some free time. And I was thinking like maybe in like 3 or 4 days. And he was like, Alex, it'd be really good if you do that like soon, like maybe tonight. And I'm like, oh, there's all these parties and social gatherings and all these people I haven't seen in a long time. But I did kind of click into that mode of like, okay, Ian's my boss right now, gonna make that work. And so did that, was up very, very late, got a couple hours of sleep, went up the next day to like look at what I'd written and see what needed to be edited, was kind of doing like a live Google Docs session with Ian as we made my language a little bit more clear. And then I was sitting in on Kent Bai doing a Voices of VR interview, which was kind of cool because I listen to Kent all the time when I am working. So to get to have that live was neat. But as Kent is wont to do, like he finished up with his interview and then he came over and he's like, hey, Alex, should we catch up? Should we have a little talk? And I was thinking like, this will be the most incoherent Voices of VR episode I've ever done, but it's fine. It probably won't even come out. It's okay. Because I was thinking like, I've done all these interviews with Kent, like 4 by that point that hadn't been released. Only 1 had ever made it out. And I was thinking like, yeah, sure, Kent, let's chat. And we talked for a while. And then he said as part of that, like, well, I'm seeing a lot of themes in what we've spoken about over the years. My first interview with Kent was all the way back in 2018 at LeapCon. And he's like, I think I'm going to release like all these episodes. Like we'll just do a big, Alex Coulomb drop. And sure enough, now there are 5 episodes total of Voices of VR. I thought that was very sweet of Kent to put all that out there. And if you find yourself just really wanting to hear the sound of my voice, and also Kevin Lapson and Jackie Roman on our episode from Miami in December of last year, I think it actually is a pretty cool series. Like it's kind of neat to hear how our work and interests and trajectories developed over this time. Like in 2018, I'm talking about like how excited I am to find opportunities to, make people feel like they're very close to performers and bringing up capture fidelity. And this is all pre like, doing our annual version of Christmas Carol or before we even really started to do a lot in Unreal Engine. And you can see the way that a lot of these interests and things we were reaching toward eventually do happen. And then you get to your updates on that as we talk about everything from, our real estate work to our architecture work to our theater work and various tech demos and all the wild things that we're fortunate to be working on now. What else? I mean, SVVR was wonderful. Great talk from Jasmine from the F Reality podcast, and amazing presentation, by the way, like visually. I want to hire Jasmine, and you should too, for like anytime you need a presentation done. It was beautiful to look at. Amanda Watson, who of course invented Airlink and SVVR, and has been an amazing person to get to know over the past couple of years, who also helped out on our Four Seasons experience. She told a great story of how asynchronous time warp almost didn't happen. And then I got to go up and give my wild little presentation of our work and crazy projects that we've been up to. And that was really fun and just great to see a bunch of people there. But I guess I could go over all the minutia of everything that happened over these trips. I could say, very briefly, at Halcy-Con, we developed this kind of open source version of the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser immersive theater experience, which was like 2 days of living inside Star Wars, which was amazing. I was fortunate to take a bunch of members of my company there alongside David Liu. Thanks to Catherine Yu for getting us tickets last year, all that good stuff. I also give a nice shout out to Catherine in one of the Voices of VR episode, which I didn't remember. I was trying to give the next stage justice, and what a cool event that was. That's also coming again in January. Tangent. The Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser VR experience came from us realizing that we were in a very privileged position to check out this experience, not unlike how I felt back in 2008, getting to see so much remarkable theater in London and being like, oh my God, how do we bring this to more people? Similarly, I think we came out of the Star Wars experience like, this was amazing. How do we bring this to more people? And so we started to take, scans and photos and took assets from the community and started to build up this VR version of that experience. And right now it's mostly a digital twin of what the Star Cruiser experience was like, with some AI and all that for like some of the characters, just to kind of give a little bit of a flavor of what it was. But it's early days for it, and I was surprised, very pleasantly surprised, by the emotional reaction that a lot of people had to this experience. And we did a pretty good job of gathering testimonials. But for someone to say like, I never thought I'd get to come back here again. Like there was a really meaningful emotional experience to when I did this for the first time. I went here with my dad. I remember the last place we took a picture together, and then I was able to go back to that spot inside virtual reality and be there again. And it just reminds you of the power of these spatial memories and the way that kind of awakens your senses and does things to you that are quite different from what any other medium can accomplish. So it was really validating, because this is just a project we've been doing for free and trying to gather a community around for over a year now. And this was kind of our first time revealing it in a big way. So, if that's something you or anyone is interested in working on as well, like it's totally open source. It's on the Agile Lens GitHub. There's a Discord channel, and please, by all means, hop in there and start modeling, a droid or a character or whatever. Because the goal, of course, is we want this to be equally exciting for people who wanted to go on the Star Cruiser experience as it was for us to actually be on it. Yeah, we want people who never got to do this experience in the first place to feel some sense of the magic of what that was like, being 2 days immersed inside this really, really well filled out Star Wars world that, despite rumors of what you may have heard, was really beautiful and really well done. And I think gave all of us some pretty incredible memories, even those of us like myself who aren't like huge Star Wars fans. It was really about the people element to that. So I've been talking for a while, but just in closing, I could go into the minutia of every single person and amazing interaction and, demo and talk and whatever of the whole time I was gone for those 2 weeks, missing my kids, missing my wife, all that stuff. But the overriding thing that I just was not, prepared for was just how much there is still across all of these events, across the XR scene in MetaConnect and SVVR, the Unreal Engine scene in Seattle. What a beautiful city, by the way. It's my first time to Seattle. And then everyone in the Star Wars Halcyon Galactic Star Cruiser scene, how all these people, there's just such a spirit of generosity and wanting to help each other, uplift each other. There were, incredible events for raising money for charity and just finding ways to contribute to each other's work and projects, and just a real spirit of if you need anything, let me know. There was so much of that, just if there's any way I can be helpful, let me know. So, sometimes the world seems like a pretty dour place. And I think these kinds of interactions and experiences help instill me with this sense of optimism that I'm famous for, I guess. A lot of people are like, Alex, how are you so happy all the time? I mean, this is definitely one of the reasons. It's the sense that we do have a lot of people around us especially in the communities I'm lucky to be a part of that are just amazing and wonderful and beautiful and doing all the things that you want to believe humans are capable of when they're their best selves. So coming up on 15 minutes, my arm is very tired, but I'm enjoying the beautiful weather. I like how every time I do these talks, it's actually really nice out. Again, I've recorded like 5 of these. I think I only put 1 of them out, but it's always like really nice. So we'll see what happens when I start doing this in the bitter winter with 5 feet of snow and ice. But for now, hooray, yay. If you watch this whole thing, thanks and say hi. And I appreciate you and have a great weekend if I'm posting this on Friday. Bye.